Hey guys, Barb McGowan here, and I'm here to do a live training with you on how to get more leads on TikTok. So, if you're not aware, leads are what happens when you get someone and bring them into your ecosystem. So, typically, that's somebody who is willing to provide you their email address in exchange for something of value. And that's generally a lead magnet, like a free course, a free training, can be really anything. So, when you have someone and they become a lead, that's them expressing some level of seriousness about the offer that you have that you are promoting, or if you're selling your own offer. And so getting more leads generally equates to getting more sales. And so I'm here to talk about how you can use TikTok to get more leads. So let us dive right in. And if you're watching this live, drop a hashtag live. If you are watching the replay, drop a hashtag replay. And I also want to mention really quickly while I'm thinking of it, that at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific tonight, that's 9 o'clock Eastern, me and my marketing nerd buddies are having the Digital Marketing Misfits show. That's going to be streaming live over on YouTube and also on Twitch. So I'm going to drop the link down in the description after this video, so you can join if you are so inclined. But I also want to mention that whatever questions or comments you have, go ahead and drop them as the live is progressing, and I will respond to them probably later on tonight or maybe tomorrow. And I say that because I'm going to try to eat dinner before the Marketing Misfits show tonight. All right, so that said, let's jump right in. All right, so we're going to start with the simplest. If you are creating content on TikTok, double the content you're creating, increase the content you're creating. If you create more content, you will increase the number of leads you get as a rule, like as a general rule of thumb. However, big caveat, if you're currently getting 0 leads or 1 lead or some, really small amount, simply just doubling the output that you're currently doing is not going to have a big impact. Double 0 is still 0. So if you're already creating, between 2 and 5 TikTok videos a day and you're still not getting any traction, and let me add another caveat to that. If you have a brand new account, like under 1,000 followers, and you're still not getting any traction, it might be just because you need to create more content and your account is too new. But if you have 1,000 or more followers and you're creating that much content and you're still not generating any leads, let me take you to the next thing that you can do to kind of remedy that. Create better content. And this is, I thought this was like the perfect quote. It's from Harry Potter. Hope y'all are fans. But effective content creation is both a subtle science and an exact art, courtesy of Professor Snape from Harry Potter. So a couple things that you can do to determine how you can start to create better content. And when I say better, I mean more effective content. And when I say more effective, I mean content that is reaching your specific target audience and getting them to take action, getting them to click the link in your bio, to comment on your video, to send you a DM, whatever your call to action is, whatever the thing is that you want your viewer to do. It's effective in that it's reaching them, like they're seeing the content, they're watching it all the way through, and then they're taking that action that you're asking them to take. So start here. Start by looking at your TikTok analytics to see which videos have the highest watch time, and then repost them, like literally save them using snaptik.app without the watermark, and just repost them to get more followers and therefore having the opportunity to get more leads. Remake the video, like take the same, trending sound, take the same format, and literally remake that video just in a, or a current setting, or emulate that content. Like watch and see what was the topic you were talking about. Were you indoors or outdoors? How was it edited? What sound did you use? Did you have text on the screen? Like look at all of the different things that go into play when you're making a piece of content. And when I say emulate, I mean make a new piece of content, but use those same characteristics, use those same traits that were successful already in one piece of content. something that cannot be overstated is use a compelling hook to grab your viewers' attention. I think so often we forget that people on TikTok don't care about us unless it's in the context of what our content does for them. Like, what's in it for me? And we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But when you're creating a piece of content, we all feel like we are the most interesting person ever, or at least I do. Maybe you don't, but we have a biased viewpoint towards our experience and ourselves. Everyone does. And so as a content creator, we need to take advantage of that by hooking people, by implying this is why you should watch this content. This is how it's relevant or interesting or valuable to you, the viewer, and not you all the viewers, plural, not like an entire audience. Because when people are watching videos on TikTok, they're experiencing it as themselves, as one person. So if you're saying, hey guys, hey y'all, that depersonalizes it for them. So create a hook that will grab the attention of one person. You're talking to one person when you create content. And just as a side note, I saw a video by Mike Rama. If you don't follow him on TikTok, you absolutely should. He gives amazing tips to content creators across the board, any niche, on how to create better content, more compelling content. Anyway, but something that Mike said, and I probably saw this over a year ago, but he said, whenever you're creating any kind of content, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's an email, a Facebook post, you should always be writing it or always be recording it as if you're talking to one person. Because think of how much more compelling it is if you feel like I am talking to you right now, versus if you feel like I'm talking to a class of people, like a whole entire classroom or a building of people or a whole audience. That's less compelling than if you understand that I am actually talking directly to you, and I am talking to you. Anyway, so use a compelling hook. A hook is something that grabs people's attention, and it's going to depend on who your audience is and what you're talking about and the kind of remainder of the piece of content that you're creating. But a hook can be something like, these are the 3 secrets I wish I knew before I got started with XYZ. Or this is the single biggest mistake that will keep you stuck if you are fill in the blank with your audience, So a hook is something that grabs people's attention. It's something you can speak, but it's also text you can put on the screen, and you should. I call those visual hooks, and basically it's just what I do is I use red background, white text, and I kind of synopsize who this video is for and why you should keep watching. And it should be interesting and juicy and compelling, keeping people watching my content, listening to what I have to say, and then getting to the point where they can take advantage of my call to action and do whatever the thing is that I'm telling them to do. Click the link in my bio and schedule a call. Click the link in my bio, join my Facebook group, leave a comment, send me a message, whatever. Create better content, part 2. So when I'm talking about talking to your audience, you're talking to that one specific person in your audience. What I'm really saying is get to know your ideal client, your ideal customer, your avatar. You can think of your avatar kind of like the movie, but it's like the buyer persona, or the entirety of our target audience boiled down to one single person. And even name that person, become crystal clear about who that exact individual person is, so that when you create content for them, let's call mine Betty. I think I've used Betty in previous examples. But Betty will know that I'm talking directly to her because my words and my emotions and everything that's in my content will resonate with her so hard. And the thing that's great is when you get to that level of specificity in talking to Betty or Bob or whoever your avatar is, it's going to resonate not just with Betty, but people like Betty, people who are similar-ish to Betty. That's going to resonate with a bunch of different people. And if you get too general with your content, with talking about pain points or talking about problems that people are experiencing and how you can help them by providing educational, problem-solving content. But if you get too general and too vague and you're trying to appeal to too many people, now your content becomes diluted and watered down. And there's a great quote that if you chase 2 rabbits, you catch none, You need to go after one specific avatar, one specific, ideal client. Because if you try to go after too many, your content's not gonna resonate emotionally with all of those people. It's too general, too vague. You need to get really specific. Excuse me. My throat is dry. I've been talking a lot today. And don't create ads. I mean, I'm not talking about official, like, actual ads that you pay for. I'm talking about, like, when you're creating content, think of it from the viewer's perspective. Think of it from the perspective of your target audience. Nobody comes to TikTok to look at ads. When I go on Hulu, I go to watch Golden Girls. I don't go to watch, like, the random ads that they have in between, in between episodes. So tell your story and connect it. Like, how does your story relate to the person who's watching your content? People love stories. That's why we watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians and whatever else is out there, But we also, like, we get something from watching shows like that or from watching content like that. We love to experience novelty, When something is new, we gravitate toward that. If it's something we haven't seen before, then we are super interested in it because we crave novelty. And so when you get to tell your story and relate that back to the person watching your content and explaining, in the context of your life and your experience, how you can impact them, how you can help them, and give that information, give that knowledge to them so that they can witness it and, like, experience it as you're talking about it, then that becomes valuable to them because it applies to them. It's relevant to them. And again, the idea of what's in it for me, not you, the content creator, but your viewer. If you can let them know, hey, this is what's in it for you, this is why you should keep watching my content, then they'll continue to watch it. If that reason's good enough, it's juicy enough. Create better content, part 3. So if you're not already getting a ton of engagement on your videos, maybe you're struggling to understand, how to connect to your audience, or maybe your account's just super new. Go search for other accounts in your niche that get a lot of comments. And you will hear some people say, go watch other people's videos and copy them. No, that's BS. Don't do that. Unless it's a trend and you're, like, making your trend, like, relating a trend back to you or back to your niche. And that's what I mean by, like, copying. That's fine if you're doing a trend. That should not be the majority of your videos. But don't just go recreate someone's video from scratch. Quick side note. I remember seeing this one gal a while back, and I saw her completely, like, recreate my video, which is fine. Then I went to her profile. I exaggerate not. She had recreated verbatim, hadn't changed anything, like 5 of my videos, like the last 5 of her videos. And this was some chick that had like 40,000 followers. This is like probably close to, I don't know, 6 months, maybe 8 months ago. But I'm just like, it's one thing to take inspiration and then recreate it, put your own spin, put your own flavor and your own voice into something. Because again, your audience, your Betty is going to be completely different than somebody else's Betty. It could be Bob, Tom, Joe, whatever. So if you just strictly recreate and don't change anything, don't personalize anything from someone else's content to your own audience, it's going to fall flat. Or it's going to reach the wrong audience. So that's why it's so important to be you, to tell your story and to make content for your audience and to know who that audience is. But I digress. But when you go to other accounts in your niche that are doing well and getting a lot of engagement on their videos, number one, see what the video is about that's eliciting all of these comments, and take notes. Like, what's the topic? Is it indoors or outdoors? Are they speaking or do they have text on the screen? Like, what are the circumstances that are prompting this video to do well? And then see if you can recreate those elements, but not just recreate that content, Also, look at the comments. Like, look at what people are saying. Like, look at what people are asking. If they have questions or if you're seeing a lot of the same questions coming up, make a video about that and say, hey, I keep seeing people asking this question and I want to help you. And chances are, if you have some overlap in your audiences, you're asking a question that those people have, or you're answering a question that those people are asking on somebody else's content. You know what I mean? And at the end of your video, or at whatever point you choose to put it, I suggest as a starting point to have your call to action at the end of your video. And then you can experiment and see if moving it around is beneficial to you once you kind of get that down. But have a strong, clear call to action. Like, make it super abundantly clear and obvious what your audience should do in terms of taking an action, click the link, send me a DM, leave a comment, whatever. And let them know why they should take that action. I was just having this conversation with coaching clients the other day, but if you can't articulate and if you don't know why your viewer should take a specific action, should follow your call to action in your content, they won't know either. And if they don't know, if it's not clear, like what the either explicit, like where you outright say, this is what you will get if you take this action, or the implicit, meaning like it's implied, but you don't outright say it. If there's not like a clearly communicated benefit to a call to action, people aren't going to do it. You know what I mean? Like when people are like and follow, that's the weakest call to action. I hate it. Like it drives me insane. Like this video if you want to keep seeing me on your For You page. Like if this was valuable, like this video, give me a follow, and I'll keep showing up on your For You page. You know what I mean? And then if people found your video valuable, they're incentivized. They want to see more of your content, and then they will like your video and follow if you give them that call to action. They might still do it even if you don't give that call to action, but why not prompt them, you know? Anyway. So another way, and this is it goes along with better content creation, but kind of going a little bit deeper into that, understanding the buyer's journey. And let me kind of explain what the buyer's journey is and how this relates to getting more leads through your content. So the buyer's journey is kind of like a model. It's not like an actual physical journey. Like they're not on a path somewhere, like going into the mountains. But the buyer's journey is like a model of the decision-making process that people go through when they're exposed to your content for the first time. And then all the way from where you're grabbing their attention at the top, you know, a funnel, buyer's journey is a funnel. So funnel's big and broad at the top and gets really skinny toward the bottom. But at the very top is like attention. So you're grabbing people's attention, and that's through your content on TikTok. But you're also going to have people who are closer down toward the bottom of the funnel, which is like where they're making a decision. They're taking action, you know? And so we're going to talk more in depth about the buyer's journey in just a sec, but have the understanding that when people are viewing your content, you know, you could have 100, 1,000, 10,000 different individual people who are all seeing your video, right? And they might all be at different various stages of the buyer's journey. So someone might be seeing your piece of content for the very first time and they're like, I have never even heard of the name Barb before. I don't know who this person is or what she's talking about, but I'm interested, you know? So they're at the attention phase. And then you might have a hardcore follower that's been following you or like watching your content for a couple weeks or a couple months, and they're interested in what you have to say. Or it might be someone who's like, I've made a decision. I'm going to work with Barb. I want what she's selling, and she's amazing, and I love this. So you have to kind of keep that in mind, that people are going to be at various stages of knowing who you are, knowing how you can help them, and even having any awareness that they have a problem that you can solve, that you already know that you can solve, but they don't know yet, you know? So just be aware that your audience is going to be at different stages. And so you can help them out. You can help move them from the top of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel. Again, the bottom of the funnel is where they're taking action, making a decision to spend money with you. So you can create content that's going to help those people move from attention at the very top down to the bottom where they're actually taking action. And so hopefully you can see this okay. If not, I will post the kind of PDF version of this in the Facebook group. But on the far left where it says stages of the buyer's journey. So again, attention is at the very top, then interest, people are making a decision, kind of weighing their options, and at the very bottom is taking action. So, and again, just like any physical funnel, like that you would build in ClickFunnels or System.io or whatever, you're going to start with a larger group of people. And then at each stage or each page, you know, if we're talking about like an actual physical funnel, but at each stage, that group of people is going to get smaller and smaller. Not every single person that sees every like piece of content that we put on TikTok, that attention phase or that attention stage, is going to end up buying from us, right? So it's going to start broad and get skinnier. But I just kind of want to talk about really quickly what your prospect or what your potential lead is experiencing at each of these stages, because you get to create content. If you're aware of what they're experiencing, you can kind of custom tailor your content to speak to them at whatever stage of the journey that they're at. So at the attention stage, what your prospect is experiencing is symptoms, of a problem or is seeking an opportunity of some sort. And so they're really kind of seeking to understand the frame of their situation so that they can put a name to their problem. So to put this in kind of more real world terms, it could be someone, I'll speak for myself, someone like me who, in about November of, what year was that? 2020, I was just feeling kind of generally discontent and dissatisfied with life. And I was really kind of starting to understand that it was because of my job. It was because of my 9-to-5 job. And, there was the whole pandemic going on, and I was just kind of really unhappy with how things were in my life. And so I was expressing symptoms of that, which was, I was in a bad mood whenever I'd get home from work. I was like doing the math and just looking at how underpaid I was and thinking about my boss and what a pain in the butt he was. You know what I mean? So those were some of the symptoms that I was experiencing. And so for that type of person, like if you are promoting a way to make money online or start an online business, or that type of a product, or if you are offering coaching or have some kind of offer of your own where you're teaching people how to start their own online business and make money online, you want to create content for that person who they might not even know that they want to start an online business yet, or that they can even make money online. But you want to talk to them about the symptoms that they're experiencing in your life. Like, oh my goodness, like if I'm making a piece of content, I remember being so angry on my lunch break, sitting in my car outside my job and thinking, should I even go back in? And that's the moment when I decided I need to find a plan B and start my own online business. Like, you're telling your story, you're hooking people in, and you're letting them know that you see, hear, and understand them because you are them. Like, that used to be you, So I digress, but so if your prospect is experiencing symptoms of a problem that they don't even have a name for yet, help them understand, help them give them that frame and put the name to the problem that they're experiencing. So the type of content you should create, if you just follow that to the right, attention grabbing content, attraction or affinity based content. Affinity just means liking. So creating content that just shows kind of who you are, so people get to know you and get to like you. Educational content to answer questions and concerns. Talk to your avatar, talk to your Betty as if they have no clue about you or the transformation that you know that they need. So you're talking to them at the top level. You're not saying, you know what, Betty, you should start an online business. I can teach you about that, and that'll solve all your problems. That's asking for their hand in marriage a little bit too quick. You know what I mean? So you want to start by really making them feel heard and understood by reflecting their problems back to them, being able to describe their problems and their pain points better than they can, because that will show that you have the expertise that they didn't even know that they needed. Anyway, so going back to the stages of the buyer's journey, now we're down to interest. So at the interest stage, your prospect has clearly defined and given a name to their problem or opportunity. And now they're seeking where they can find a solution. So they're committed to researching and understanding all approaches, all methods to solving the problem. And so at this stage, you want to provide empowering content that gives them the confidence that they need to kind of move further into making a decision. So if you have case studies or testimonials, this is why you always hear me talk about case studies and testimonials and how important they are. High value content, educational content that answers questions, show people that you can help them to achieve that desired transformation. And again, I see you, I hear you, I understand you because I am you. So the empathetic content where you're telling your story and how you used to be that person, when I first created content, back when I first started my online business, I was really creating content for like the past version of me from a few months ago, where I was basically like telling myself, don't bury your head in the sand. Your situation that you're so unhappy with right now, your job that you hate, that's zapping your energy and creativity and like leaving you feeling stuck and disenchanted with life, it's not going to change unless you change something. And you know this, so stop. Like, that was the content that I was creating at that point, because I was talking directly to me from a few months ago, and so that's kind of the content that you should create at that interest stage, is really like empathizing with people and illustrating that you get it because you have been there and done that and gotten through that somehow. So going back to the stages of the buyer's journey, the next stage is decision. So this is where your prospect is aware of the gap between their current and their desired situation. They know the options that exist that are promising that transformation, that moving from their current state to their desired state. And the prospect has kind of narrowed down the options to make a final decision. So they might be in multiple people's Facebook groups. They're looking at this person, that person, and that person, looking at the way that they interact with people in their Facebook groups, like whatever the case is. But they are kind of taking in all available options and they're getting ready to make a decision. So the type of content you should create: high value content. Deliver clear direction that the prospect needs in order to kind of like take that action and overcome their current situation. Answer all of the questions that your prospect needs answered. So what this looks like on TikTok is, if people are asking questions in your comments, reply with a video, and you can go more in depth. Chances are, if one person has that question that they're willing to leave in the comments, multiple people have that question. And so you get to kill multiple birds with one stone and help people move down your funnel. Foster a community and lead nurture. And we're going to talk more about that in a second. But the community building needs to happen off of TikTok. So yes, you are using TikTok to generate leads, but the lead nurture process needs to happen away from TikTok. And we'll talk about that more in a sec. And lastly, the last stage of the buyer's journey is action. So that's at the point where someone has gone through the entire funnel and they have made the decision that they are going to work with you. They're going to buy the product or service that you offer. They're going to buy the product or service that you're promoting, and you've earned their business. So now you must fulfill on the promises and deliver that transformation that was promised, that was illustrated. So if you go over to the far right in the yellow box, that means over delivery of new knowledge, skills, and ideas. Massive value. Solidified transformation, meaning that thing where you were saying, hey, I can get you from your current state to your desired state. That transformation from their current state to the desired state, that's the transformation you want to deliver. The promised outcome is delivered. So whatever you were promising them, whether it was something specific like, I'm going to help you earn your first high ticket commission, or I'm going to help you understand how to build your own funnel and implement it in your business, whatever that thing is. I'm going to help you lose 20 pounds in the next 30 days or 60 days or whatever is healthy. I don't know. But you want to deliver that to them. Delivering what you promise to your clients means you're not a scam. A scammer is someone who overpromises and underdelivers. An actual legitimate business, and you as an actual legitimate business owner, is over-delivering on whatever that promised outcome is that you're going to offer to people. Not only is that good karma and good business practice, but that's how you create loyal, happy, repeat customers and gather case studies and testimonials. The reason I have it on all caps, and hopefully you can see it, I know it's small on the screen, but the case studies and testimonials are social proof that your business is legit, that you can deliver that transformation. You can go tell people all day long that you can deliver on the transformation that you intend to deliver, but it carries so much more weight. It lends so much more credibility to you if you have other people that you've worked with, clients, happy customers who are saying, yes, I worked with Barb and she's fantastic. She did this, that, and the other. This is how I have changed in working with this person. So gather those case studies and testimonials from your happy, excited clients after you've delivered on that transformation. And then going back to creating better content on TikTok, you can share those testimonials, share that excitement that your clients have experienced after they've worked with you, to give that social proof to other people watching your content, maybe for the first time. Like, oh wow, this person is a teacher and she learned how to do this, and that's how her life has changed thanks to working with Barb. And they get to see that on TikTok. And again, you're addressing at various stages of the buyer's journey if you're kind of repurposing your case studies and testimonials on TikTok. All right, moving on. So this kind of bleeds over a little bit into lead nurture, but I do want to mention it because it's critical to your business. Build a community, not just a following. And so here's what I mean by that. Bring your leads. Once you have gotten, it's not just about getting more leads. It's what you do with them after you get them. So you want to nurture those leads. And you can do that in a number of different ways. One of them that's super, super important is bringing your leads to a community building platform, like a Facebook group. Huge hint, like spoiler alert, you should be building a Facebook group, regardless of your niche, regardless of what it is that you're selling. And if you're selling something high ticket, you absolutely need a Facebook group, period. That's going to allow you to actually develop a community where you get to interact with people one to many, but also they get to interact with each other. And that's where it really becomes a community. And it becomes like a magical place where there is synergy, and people get to benefit from everyone's knowledge, everyone's questions. Everybody gets to learn and be of like mind together. And you get to add value to people's lives. You get to answer their questions, educate them. And by virtue of you answering their questions and educating them, you're helping them move down the funnel. And moving down the funnel means they're getting closer and closer to making that purchase from you. You get to develop rapport with them, develop that know, like, and trust. And people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. So building a community is essential. An essential next step after you've grabbed that lead. You want to nurture that lead. And so just like kind of a side note, it's difficult for the vast majority of people to sell high ticket directly from TikTok. So warm your leads up in a Facebook group. And again, that's done through educating them, through answering their questions, just being a human, being a person. That's part of building a personal brand, is just being a human with the people in your community. And I know you might see people putting their income claims or doing whatever on TikTok to sell their high ticket offer. I'm telling you, like, build a community. That's how you build a long-term sustainable business. And it's not from doing cheap, junky marketing, like, which is just flashing screenshots or, doing clickbaity type stuff on TikTok. Like, if you are just creating content on TikTok thinking you're going to earn enough money to like change your life, you will not. 99.9% of people, like roughly, need more than just TikTok to sell high ticket. So just setting like that expectation for you. Build a community, not just a following, part 2. So if you focus more on providing value, and when you hear me say value, when you hear anybody say, provide value on TikTok, what I mean is create educational, problem-solving content. Also creating, interesting, funny, motivational content. It could be any kind of thing, and any content that people want to watch because it's relevant and interesting to them. That's what I mean when I say value. So if you focus more on providing value on TikTok, you will get more leads because your viewers, the people who are watching your content, will know, like, and trust you. And again, people buy from people. They want to be in the ecosystem of a person that they know, like, and trust, that they vibe with, that they resonate with, Don't be a broken record and just say, knowing what you now know about the buyer's journey, that everybody's at a different stage. Somebody could just be seeing your content for the first time. They could just hear about you and the topics that you're talking about for the first time. They might not even know that they have a problem you can solve. So if it's that person at the top of your funnel, at the attention stage in your funnel, and you're saying, click the link in my bio and buy this thing, how disingenuous does that sound? How, it's not a one size, your call to action is not one size fits all, because people may be at the top of the funnel, they may be at the bottom. The call to action of click the link in my bio and buy this thing, when you're just saying that across the board, every single piece of content, or even a vast majority, or even sometimes in your content, the person who's watching your content for the first time, or who's not ready to make a buying decision, that can alienate them. So that's another reason why you should build a community where you can educate people, warm them up, and then get them to a place where they're ready to click your link and buy the thing. And don't be shy. Don't rely on just the link in your bio and on your passive call to action in your videos to generate leads. Like that whole, I'm creating a video, I'm going to have a call to action, and that is the only way that I'm going to drive people into my Facebook community or to whatever link that you're trying to get them to take some kind of action with. Excuse me. That's passive. Like that's putting a help wanted sign out there outside of your store, right? You're relying on people passing by and seeing it, noticing it, and then taking action to come apply for that job, A way that you can use that's more active is send your followers DMs. Like if people are following you, they at least have enough interest in your content that, they're following you. And if you follow them back, you can send them a DM. Invite them to join your community. Ask about what made you follow me, or what drew you to my content, or whatever your niche is. Make your message specific to that and ask them how you can help them, how you can serve them, how you can solve their problems. Bring them over to your Facebook group and then do that, and that's how you build rapport. That's how you build community. And that's how you build a bunch of people that know, like, and trust you, that are willing to open up their wallet and pull out their credit card and make a purchase from you. So that's the more active approach, is sending DMs. Don't be totally reliant on, I'm trying to get more leads and trying to get people to my Facebook community, but nobody's doing anything. Well, are you reaching out to them? If you're 100% reliant on passive methods, you're leaving it in the hands of other people. If you're actively inviting people into your community, it's just that. It's more active. So you're giving people a more direct and clear call to action to do this thing for this benefit. So in conclusion, y'all, know your audience. We go back to the avatar, the ideal client, the ideal customer. Know who that person is. Again, for me, it's Betty. Know who your Betty is. Know what her problems, her pain points, her top frustrations are every day, and create content that speaks to that and talks about how you can relate to those problems, those pain points, and how you overcame them, if you did. Tell your story as it relates to Betty and how you can help Betty. We've all gone through, nobody comes to entrepreneurship because their life is easy. I don't think. If I'm wrong, if your life has been just rainbows and unicorns this whole time and you're just doing entrepreneurship for the heck of it, leave a comment. I'm curious to hear. But I think most people, the vast, vast majority, come to entrepreneurship because their life has had some kind of hiccup or obstacle or challenge or some area that needs improvement. And so use those unique traits and those unique skills that you've gained from overcoming those obstacles in your life to help the people in your audience, and communicate that to them. Communicate how the experiences that you've had uniquely equip you to help them. That's what makes you stand apart from anyone else and their mom who's creating content out there on TikTok, is that it's like our fingerprints, or a snowflake, or a zebra. There's no two that are exactly the same. And so you are your own greatest asset in creating content, getting leads, and selling to those leads using TikTok, is being yourself, being your authentic self, telling your story, and doing it in a way that is well edited, well lit, and compelling and expressive, that evokes emotions from the people in your audience. Because facts tell, stories sell. Stories are emotional. People respond to emotion. And that kind of ties into the second bullet point of creating more and better content for your audience. Again, educational, problem solving. It can be funny, it can be entertaining, it can be motivational, it can be all those things. But when you help people to solve their problems and take away the thinking and the energy and the time that they have to spend in doing that themselves, they will gravitate to you. That's how you build a following of people that know, like, and trust you. Give people a reason to take action. Again, your call to action can't be weak sauce. Weak sauce is like and follow, Like and follow for more. No, stop it. Come over and join my Facebook if you want to learn XYZ for free. Come over and join my Facebook group. I'm offering a free 30-minute call, a strategy call for the first 10 people that set one up. And we can talk about how, like, where you're at currently in your business, where you're at, or where you want to be, and how I can help you get there. Like, that's compelling. That's valuable. And try different calls to action. Like, try different things. If one thing doesn't work, try a different thing, you know? Don't just give up and say, it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Figure it out. That's how entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs, because we figure out what does and doesn't work, and then we iterate. We change our direction. We change our trajectory to a way that does work. Understand the buyer's or the lead's decision-making journey from their perspective. Again, that goes back to the buyer's journey funnel. People are going to be at different stages of making a decision. Help them move to the next stage in the funnel till they're ready to make a decision, but don't just like shove it down people's throat. Click the link in my bio and buy this thing. No, stop doing that. And build your community actively. Like, build not just a following on TikTok, but bring the really qualified leads, meaning the people who are actually interested in how you can help them and are willing to participate in that solution. Bring them over to your Facebook group. Excuse me. Bring them over to your Facebook group, nurture those leads. And when I say nurture, I mean educate, answer their questions, solve their problems for them. That's how you build community, and that's how you build a community that knows, likes, and trusts you. All right. So I think that is the conclusion, the very end. And again, I need to run so I can go eat something before I need to get on the Digital Marketing Misfits show, which is taking place at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Again, I will drop the link for that if you care to join. I'd love it if you did. We're just going to go be goofy marketing nerds and talk smack, basically. I also think we have a special guest. Thomas Nolan, I believe, is joining us from a new platform, speaking of content creation, called FUD, F-U-D. So come check it out. It's going to be super awesome. And thank you guys so much for joining again. I will get back to any questions and comments probably either later tonight or tomorrow. Thank you guys for joining, and have a lovely evening.